Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to Do Station in yet another video. I hope you are good, healthy, enjoying life and learning as well. We are learning health and safety in easy way from beginner to expert level. And this is our module 3 in which we are understanding about getting the understanding about the health and safety related legislations, regulations, standards. In the first part, we learned what they are, how they work, and what are the compliance and non-compliance consequences. In the second part, we looked into some the globally accepted, practiced, and appreciated legislations at global level as well as at regional level, and what are the industry-specific legislations. So, in the today's video, basically, we will see how these laws or regulations put the or identify the responsibilities of the employers, especially and the employees, and as well as what are the compliance. And we will look into some case studies, which are basically the cases of non-compliance where the laws came into action and the companies or organizations or non-compliance parties had to face the consequences. So we can understand them better how they work in the ground or in the field. Also, we will look into what are these lessons learned we always hear about. So we will see from these case studies how we learn the lessons from the incidents. So, a very interesting topic. I hope it will be helpful for you. So let's start it. Welcome to presentation, everyone. We are covering our module 3 of the series, in which is the health and safety legislations and standards. First video we covered basically what the legislations and standards are and how they work. In the second video we covered a few globally accepted and practiced legislations and standards. In the today's video we will look into the responsibilities under these HSE laws and standards. Let's look into the introduction of today's topics. First, we will cover introduction, then employers' responsibilities, then employees' responsibilities under these legislations and standards. Then HSE non-compliance case studies we will look into to understand how what are the consequences of non-compliance. And then we will look into the lessons learned, how we do that. Let's start it. Let's look into the introduction. We know these HSE legislations and standards are very crucial in effective health and safety management. These laws and regulations impose the various specific duties on different stakeholders, organizations, employers, employees, etc. So their understanding is very important so we can comply with them and ensure that there are no such bad impacts or consequences of non-compliance. Now let's look into the employer responsibility. Basically, employers have moral, financial, legal, and social obligations to make sure that health and safety is effectively implemented. Moral obligations basically respect for the human life. Workers are working for you. They have a contract. They exchange their services for financial benefits, so they should not be harmed at your workplace. So morally, you should make your work environment so that they are protected. Then there are financial benefits, cost saving. Your business can sustain different types of costs. They can impact your business very badly. So to save those costs, maybe due to the accidents or legal consequences, these are financial obligations. Then there are legal obligations, regulations, standard laws of the country that you must have to follow. Otherwise, you will be conducting the crimes. There are the duty of the care, which is a legal term, the legal responsibility. So employer have to make sure that it fulfills that it is a liability, so otherwise there can be the prosecutions, fines, or even imprisonment. Then the social obligations. You are working in a society, so you are using the resources of the society. So it is your obligation to ensure that you don't put any harmful impacts on that society or overall environment of the society. Then there are some specific requirements or responsibilities of the employer which are set by the laws. Number one, providing a safe work environment. Workplace is free from the hazards and employees are not exposed to the risks that could harm them. So the work environment should be safe and sound for the workers so they can perform their activities safely. Then the provision of the safe plant machinery and tools, the plants equipment you are providing them should be of the standard, and they should be maintained so they don't pose any threat to the workers' safety. Then HSE policy legal requirement to demonstrate your commitment in written form, to demonstrate, tell what do you think about the health and safety and what are your goals and objectives and how you will achieve them. Then the providing training and supervisions. Obviously, job related, your workers have the specific job to conduct them safely and use the related equipment plants safely. So it is mandatory for the employer to make sure that he provide all the necessary trainings, information, instructions to the workers so they can understand how to perform their job safely. Then provisions of the PPEs, personal protective equipment required for the specific job, they should be provided. They should be of the standard, and then they should be provided free of cost. Then basic welfare provisions, the basic needs of the daily human life, like drinking water, sanitary facilities, eating, drinking, rest, shelters, etc., medical first aids, etc. So these welfare basic facilities under the law, employer has to provide to the workers. Then monitoring and reviews, obviously, it is a legal requirement to monitor your activities or your control system. They are working effectively. Then if there are any incidents, you have it is a responsibility to report them, investigate them properly to find out the root causes, and then make the action plans to make sure that in the future they are avoided and they don't reoccur. Now let's look. Law puts some responsibilities on employees as well. Follow the instructions, the policies, procedures, instructions given by the employer. It is a legal responsibility of employee to follow them. Then reporting, if you see anything unsafe or incidents near misses, it is a legal requirement to report them immediately. Any unsafe thing you can correct, which comes under your scope, correct it or report it to correct. Then use the personal protective equipment. Then it is your responsibility, the equipment or the personal protective equipment provided to you for your jobs. You wear them, you use them correctly, and also you maintain them. Use tools and equipment for the intended purpose. The tools or equipment which are given to you for your specific job, don't misuse them. So always make sure that you follow the instructions related to those tools. Then maintain tools and equipment. Obviously, follow the procedure of the maintenance of the tools you are using. Then never interfere with the safety gadgets. So never interfere with any safety control measures like safety guards, interlocks, etc. So these are for your protection. This is your legal obligation. Safety is not something you do in addition to your job. It is a critical part of your job itself. Basically, safety is not something separate or extra you do in addition to your job. It is basically the essential part of your job, and it is your legal responsibility to ensure that you follow all the instructions and you behave safely. So now let's look into some compliance failures case studies so you can understand how these legislations work. So first case study, EU REACH regulations, company involved with ExxonMobil chemical manufacturer. Region is European Union. Legislation that was breached was a registration, evaluation, authorization, and restriction of the chemicals regulation. What issue happened? Basically, there was a chemical that manufactured by the company. So there was a deadline to ensure that they registered it successfully before that deadline, and they failed to do so. So in the consequences, basically they paid a lump sum amount of the around 1.4 million US dollars, and their sales were suspended until they successfully get the registration. Next case study is OSHA's Process Safety Management Standard Company, British Petroleum, North America Oil and Gas Refining, Region United States. Legislation that was breached was Occupational Safety and Health Administration's Process Safety Management Standard issue. The refinery of the BP in the Texas, there was big explosions and the fires resulted in the 15 casualties. Around 180 persons were injured. It was a very catastrophic incident. So after that, the regulatory bodies activated. They investigated the incident thoroughly. Then they concluded that there were regulatory shortcomings in the process safety management system of the BP. BP has to face the around 22 millions US dollars fines, and then they also bound them to ensure that their standards are improved and effectively implemented. Next case study is related to Australia's Work Health and Safety Act. Company involved was BHP Britain Mining and Metals Company, region Western Australia. Legislation was that was breached Work Health and Safety Act 2011. Issue was the company was working at some construction site where the concrete pouring activity was going on and very heavy, around 14 tons concrete slabs were involved. So the one of the concrete slab collapsed and it fell down and killed the worker immediately. Then regulatory bodies activated, they investigated it thoroughly. They found that their procedure, especially the form work related method statements and risk assessments, was insufficient, not adequate, and also the fall protection for the material fall protection precautions or the measures were not sufficient or suitable. So they had to bear a big fines around 1.1 million US dollars. Then the regulatory bodies bound them to ensure that their systems are updated accordingly. Next case study is very famous one and very catastrophic. The Water Horizon disaster 2010. Company BP Oil and Gas Exploration and Production Region Gulf of the Mexico, USA. Legislation that was breached U.S. Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act issue in the rig of basically the Deepwater Horizon BP's rig. There were big explosions resulted into fires, caused 11 casualties, and a bulk amount of the oil spilled into the sea. Impacted the nearby communities very badly. Also, the aquatic life impacted very badly. So the regulatory bodies activated. They thoroughly investigated the issue. They found that there were regulatory shortcomings, especially related to the well protections or controls and their blowout controls. So there were big financial consequences. BP has to two settlements for to resolve the issues. One with the Justice Department of the United States around 4.5 billion US dollars. The other one with US government around 21 billion US dollars. So it impacted the BP hugely. And also the brand value that they lost, that is another subject. Next case study, Piper Alpha disaster 1988, one of the deadliest one in the oil and gas history. Company for Occidental Petroleum Oil and Gas Production Region North Sea UK legislation that was breached UK offshore safety regulations. So this was offshore rig, a million or billion dollar. There were explosions and fire. The whole rig or structure above the sea melted into the sea. There were around 167 casualties. After the incident, immediately regulatory bodies activated. They thoroughly investigated the issue. They found that there was regulatory shortcomings, human errors were there, there were design flaws, and also slave safety procedures were inadequate. So the company has to bear significant losses, financial losses, including the big settlement if convert in today's uh, exchange rate, so around 230 million US dollars. Then they find them and also they bound them to ensure that their systems are improved. So now let's look at how we learn the lessons learned from these incidents or case studies. So we learn from these incidents or stats. Compliance is crucial. Obviously, it saves human and financial losses. Then prioritize HSE always. The procedures, the standards that you are adopting should be effective so you can avoid any catastrophic consequences. Regulatory importance of the regulatory frameworks, effective regulations are very important. Obviously, with all these incidents, these regulations or the standards became more robust, more effective. So, if your regulatory frameworks are robust and they are implemented in force practically in the ground, obviously, then we can avoid these losses. Invest in the safety. Obviously, maybe sometimes it looks that investing into the safety is a big amount, but when you look at the aftershocks or consequences that come or financial losses that come after the incident has happened, so we could have saved the billions of the dollars. Then incident learning. Obviously, incident happens, we should avoid them, but once it happens, we should learn so we can avoid the reoccurrence. So could have the lives around 180 lives we lost in these incidents could have been prevented. And if we had robust, effective health and safety management, obviously these billion-dollar losses also would have been avoided. Improved regulations after these incidents, such incidents always regulations get more robust, more effective. And the compliance improvement, obviously the procedure or mechanism to ensure the compliance is also more stricter, more robust. So this is how we learn the lessons. So we covered our today's topics. Let's conclude them. We look into the employer's responsibilities, legal obligations, provision of the safe workplace, safe work environment, safe equipment plant, safe systems of work, procedures, methods, statements, and personal protective equipment. Then employer is responsible to ensure to provide the relevant trainings, information, instructions, and supervision. And then it is responsibility of employer to provide the basic welfare to the workers, which are basic needs of the life. Then employees' responsibilities under law: follow the instructions, then report anything, incidents, near misses, correct use of tools and personal protective equipment they are intended for, and behave safely. Non-compliance consequences: we looked into the some case studies. We saw how human and the financial losses that come across due to the bad health and safety. So we should prevent them. Lessons learned: the incidents that occur. So we should learn the lessons and we should improve our health and safety and regulations to avoid the reoccurrence in the future. So that was it for today. I hope my efforts are helping you guys. Thank you for watching and supporting. Keep learning. Stay safe and healthy until next video with next topic. So see you then. Until then, Allah Hafiz.